Today I'm going to show you how to replace a tail light on a Honda Civic. So first we're going to take out this one, and to gain access through the trunk you have to remove these two plastic screws with a flathead screwdriver. Put a finger behind it once you have those out and pull, and there's a tab that comes out with it. Set that aside. So for this one you kind of have to hold it back while you're working, unfortunately. But in here there's two connectors that you're going to disconnect one at a time. There's a little tab on the connector. You press in the tab and remove it, just like that. Same thing on this guy. Press in the tab, wiggle it out. Alright, and then there's two bolts we have to take out. And then on mine there's a third bolt that's hiding underneath this plastic piece, so you can just take this off. Just is there to hold the wires in place. So I skipped ahead a little bit to having it already taken out, and I did this because it's a little bit helpful to see what you're getting into before you actually hop into it. Kind of wish that I saw how this all was put together before I started attacking it. A lot of people take the bumper off, but this video is going to show you how you can do this without taking the bumper off. So there's an access point down there, and you have to reach up with your hand, and it's pretty difficult, but you have to take these two bolts off. So there's one screw, there's a Phillips head screw that attaches the tail light through this hole, and then these two bolts are what hold this bracket on. So I had to reach up through that hole and take out the Phillips head and then take off these nuts. And what they are is 10 millimeter for those wondering, because it is kind of hard to reach those, so it's good to know in advance so you don't have to test a bunch of different ratchets. Mine's all janked up because of the smash, so I'm going to bend it back to its closest to normal state, and what I'm gonna do is put the tail light on this, and then I'm gonna slide it down in there, and it should all fit back together. So looking at the old one, our new one doesn't have bulbs, so we are going to take out the bulbs and transfer them to the new one. So with this one, it just does a half turn and then pulls right out. Okay, so these tabs line up with this two holes, and then of course that hole is for the Phillips head screw. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten that down. Okay, now here comes the janky part. To do this without taking the bumper off, you do have to do something sort of unorthodox. This is gonna be really difficult to slide back in that state. These two tabs, they go above the bumper, and this one goes below the bumper. So what I'm actually gonna do is I'm going to bend it. I'm gonna bend it in like this, okay? I'm gonna do a little bit better job at that. And then once I slide it in, these tabs will rest on top of the bumper. But once the whole thing is installed, I'm gonna have to go back up underneath the bumper through that access point, bend this back up so that it's snug up against the bottom side of the bumper, and then I will need to, at that point, put those nuts that were difficult to reach back on. Okay, so this is what it looks like after I've gotten it in. I wiggled the tail light into place, and then I had to bend up that bottom side of the bracket. You can see what that looks like, and you can see that those tab tongue things that go on top of the bumper are above, as they should be. Right, now that those are tight, reconnect the electricals, and that's done. We can put this thing back on. Alright, now this one is a little bit easier, just a bit of an awkward angle. Take out the electrical connectors, we're going to lose this bolt, and then these two bolts up here, and it should come right out. Okay, now that those bolts are out, you should be able to just pop it right out. So again, we're going to pop these bulbs out, check to make sure they're good still, and drop them into the new housing. Twist and click, We're gonna drop this right in, make sure it's lined up. So I for sure am gonna tighten up this middle one first, so that it drops more in a centered fashion, because if you do these ones first, then it could be like a little bit misaligned. All right, reconnect the power. Boom, new taillight. Thanks for watching. Before you get it back out on the road, definitely get a friend and check the blinker light and the brake light, and you're good to go.